Whenever a game is shown for the first time, you can typically count on social media, Twitter, any of these places to have a knee-jerk reaction of some kind to how the game looks. Either it looks incredible or it's absolute garbage, right? But it's something that's been going on for a long time, and I've talked about some of the old days of gaming and online discussion with different titles that you look back on now and you're like, wow, that game's really good. Why didn't anyone like it? And today I thought, hey, you know what? Let's go back and take a look at how the internet responded to The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker when it was first shown and kind of go over some of the thoughts on that time. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. This is an idea I've had for a little while because occasionally I'll bring up different reactions from the internet in the old days to games like Wind Waker, Metroid Prime, when we heard about that going first person. Trust me, there's a whole host of other games I could go back to. But sometimes it's kind of hard to find actual evidence of this because it would go on like GeoCities and different message boards that aren't around now. But fortunately, IGN's been around for so long. Like, they had message boards up when they were N64.com. But because they've been around for so long, we're able to pull from some of their, like, archived threads. And in fact, there is one for The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. It was kind of a necessary thread at the time, which you can see it here. Yeah, they weren't too happy about this one. In fact, when Wind Waker was first shown, you have to remember, the year before, Space World, they showed off that more realistic approach to Link versus Ganon and like fighting in like a chamber somewhere. And we were really excited for the GameCube because it was going to take 3D to the next level after what we had with pretty early attempts at 3D gaming with the PS1 and the Nintendo 64. There's a lot of hype going into that following generation, especially with Nintendo when they heard they were going to move over to discs and mini DVDs, all this stuff, right? So we go from that, expecting the realistic Legend of Zelda game, and then we got a video that was like a beta for Wind Waker, and it showed off that art style, and there was immediate and incredible backlash. Now, I don't have to tell you, like, Wind Waker is an awesome game. I really enjoy that one, and even back then, I thought it was an interesting approach to the series. It wasn't that realistic-looking Zelda game that, let's face it, everyone wanted. And the reason I feel like more than ever that everyone wanted it is because Nintendo was still viewed as like the little kid system. Whereas with like the PlayStation, they were being a bit more mature with a lot of the stuff that they were doing. So if we got that realistic Legend of Zelda, it wouldn't be viewed as like the kiddie system. But anyway, they basically had to make this thread because so many topics were being made that it just took over the entire forum that they had here. It was that bad. I mean, they did describe it here that there are so many, they just had to consolidate them down. And some of the posts in here, along with the final one that we'll go over, is absolutely hilarious. Oh boy, concentrating all that pure hatred into one post might disrupt the space-time continuum. I can't believe what they did to that Zelda game. Just when I was saying that Nintendo caters to old school gamers, they go and make Zelda look like a friggin' puppet show for 5-year-olds. Mario Sunshine. So at this time, we kind of thought that Space World 2000, the year before, that they took that and they just morphed it into Wind Waker, when really that was just always a concept of like, hey, look what we could do with GameCube. Now we have obviously the power of hindsight. We know that there would be Twilight Princess coming down the road, but like this is kind of what we thought the direction was going to be for The Legend of Zelda, like indefinitely. It was just kind of this cel-shaded look, which, like I said, while it looks really cool artistically, not really what the internet was hoping to see the following year at that trade show. Here's Madden NFL 64 says, well, since my topic was locked by a mod, here it is again. I am as loyal as the next guy to Nintendo, but I even know when they have made a mistake. I saw the screenshot at Tendo Box, and from what I saw, it sucks, guys. It purely sucks. I don't normally assume, but, well, some things in this world just suck, and this is one of them. Maybe the guys at PGC are right, and this might be a remake of Zelda 1 in 3D. Wow, they're about to be disappointed on that too. Maybe Legend of Zelda 7 is still on the same path as Space World movie was, and it will still look the same. I mean, kinda, right? Sorta. But Mario Sunshine, that name has got to change, and it probably will. It did not. Yeah, people were still trying to come to grips with Mario Sunshine as well. Again, the whole idea of the Nintendo Kitty stuff, Mario Sunshine, there's Wind Waker. Yeah, if only we could go back in time and tell them that Mario will eventually wield a gun 20 years later, they'll know there's a future worth fighting for. There's Mech Dog. It ticks me off that they have made it so kitty if it looked like the animations in the instruction booklet, but they have to make Link look like, trying to say that 10 times really fast, he needs a diaper. This might be my biggest disappointment coming out of the Cube ever. How can you people like the pictures? It's like they scraped the game together using crayons. The Cube has all this power and they go and make a stupid looking Zelda game. I just read a rumor from Planet GameCube that maybe this is a remake of the original Legend of Zelda. There's no magic meter. Link looks very similar to how he did in the instruction manual for Legend of Zelda. The game is being referred to as The Legend of Zelda at the show. Yeah, that's, wow, they're really setting themselves up for disappointment. Here's Blatuna says, you people are ridiculous, period. This game looks amazing, period. The animation's smooth as silk. You can say what crap you want to Jason, but sadly, you're just wrong. Look at the scene where Link is crouching around. Case in point, I was smiling and laughing whilst watching this video, and a coworker walked by. He asked me what I was so happy about. I said, the new Zelda game footage has been released. Said, what Zelda? I had no idea whatsoever. He's not into video gaming. See, some people were okay with the Wind Waker showcase that they did with those visuals, but I will admit, if you said you liked it at that time, you got jumped on pretty bad online, which is kind of still how it is now on like Twitter and other places. If you say you like a game that most people are against, they'll let you know they're against it in your replies. So here's something interesting that I didn't realize until I'm reading through this. This person mentions this game and then Soul Calibur 2, which Soul Calibur 2 is coming to the Xbox. They talk about that here. This person then says the reports this morning for the PS2 is also getting Soul Calibur 2. I didn't realize that the second Soul Calibur was announced for the GameCube first. That's kind of what's being implied here by these posts. Let me know if you're someone who followed Soul Calibur 2 when it was coming out, and if that was the case, because obviously they did guest characters, so I'm not sure how all of that went down in order. Was it GameCube, then Xbox, then PS2? Just in terms of like the overall announcements. I know they all were coming out like around that same time. Now this thread goes on and on and on for a while. I believe at this time though, we still didn't know that there was going to be an entire ocean that you would sail around, and that kind of being the big twist for The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. And I feel like as we got closer and closer to the release for Wind Waker, people really were coming around to it. Most of these reactions are just to the art style and the visuals that were chosen for this release. Now, my favorite part about this entire thing is after 6 pages and 274 posts, the final thing that they post up is, I agree, Zelda's new look is really ruining it. By the way, Legacy account stuck around the entire time, and they decide to form an online petition to gather signatures so you can get 2 Zeldas, which, I mean, we ended up with Twilight Princess eventually. But yeah, the online petition method's been around for more than 2 decades. I mean, now if you think about it, something happens with Pokemon, just one goes up immediately. But we've been doing this since the dial-up days, come on. And obviously it didn't work because Wind Waker still came out as they essentially saw it there with that art style. And, oh yeah, it got a 96 over on Metacritic. So I guess it all worked out. So there you have it. That was The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, according to one compiled thread over on IGN. But that still happens even now, where we'll have immediate reactions to different things online. It's just got a bit out of control here because of everything that lined up with Space World the year before. Nintendo saying they were going to go with a more mature tone for the GameCube and then showing The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. But in this case, it obviously worked out, and eventually we got that realistic big 3D Legend of Zelda game on the GameCube and even on the Revolution or the Wii. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Are there any other games that you remember maybe way back in the day that didn't go over too well when it was first shown, but people eventually came around, whether it's the concept for a game that maybe the series got changed around a bit like Metroid Prime, or in this case just The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.